For me, I mean, we've turned $80,000 into $1 million, so I think that's worth it. And the way it's ballooning now, I mean, the track record. Well, I mean, if we continue what we've been doing for the last 9 years, we should hit 40 to 50 million in our retirement account at retirement age. So I think it's worth it.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely
You know,
worth it.
and we started out by buying like small single family homes. We only had $80,000 to start with. So it was just buying, what we could pay cash for. You can leverage in these. There are lenders that will do loans. It's a non-recourse loan. So you cannot guarantee the loan. So your terms aren't as good. The LTV is like 50, 60% if you're lucky. So you're not getting a great leverage on it, but you can leverage inside the 401k.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Real Estate Pros Podcast. I'm your host, Micah Johnson, and today I am joined by Josh, who is making some serious moves in the solo 401k investing space and also in the midterm rental space. I'm excited to dig in on this conversation. Josh, welcome in, man. Glad to have you.
Appreciate you having me here. I'm excited.
I am too. I think our listeners are really going to take away how you want to approach real estate in general, because it's not even your full-time thing, yet you've built something pretty incredible with it, and just the different techniques that you're leveraging to get the most out of it. So let's dive in on that. For people who may not know you yet, what is your main focus right now and what markets you operating in?
I wouldn't say I have a main focus. I have a lot of focuses, which may be a problem of mine, but trying to narrow it in and kind of dial these in a little bit. But one of the big things that we do that's very unique and a lot of people haven't heard of is we have a solo 401k, which is a self-directed plan. It's very similar to a self-directed IRA. The solo 401k is kind of the next step. If you own a business, you can sponsor a solo 401k. The difference between that and a self-directed IRA is you can put a lot more money into it because you're actually doing payroll. You're not just contributing to it, you're contributing to it as an employee, and you're also doing out of payroll. So you can do up to 25% of your W-2 for the year. They call it a single, I think the IRS classifies it as a single participant plan. So really it's not designed for business owners to have employees. It's designed for a business that's just a single person running it, or you and your spouse. And that's kind of the extent of it. Because if you've got employees, you have to actually if I'm doing 25% of my income, I have to do 25% of everybody's income that's on payroll. So that's why they call it a single participant plan, because it's really meant for one person. The other advantage is that I have checkbook control, whereas a self-directed IRA, you have to have a custodian that holds the money and you have to run everything through them and they have to cut the check or sign off on it. You have to run, if you're buying a property, everything's got to go through the custodian. Where with a solo 401k, you have full checkbook control. That's what they call it. So I make all the decisions on what I'm buying. I literally just wire money directly from the business account to the escrow for closings. It makes it a lot easier, gives you a lot more control over the investments you're doing. So hey, that's the route that we took with this. But what I will say is the way to, if you're not familiar with it, it's a way to really ramp up your retirement account versus putting it into index funds and just waiting for the market to slowly, gradually over time increase.
Yeah, that's a fascinating option for a solopreneur, because not many exist out there for ones that go at it alone, but the ability to do this, what have y'all been able to leverage that into, and how long have you been doing it?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So we started this about 9 years ago, and I had worked for another company, and I had a 401k. I'd come out of college, I started a 401k with this company, and I think it was up to like maybe $80,000 at that point. And I rolled that over as the initial seed money to get this going. And now the account's worth almost $1 million now. Now some of that's contributions, but the majority of it is gains from the real estate deals that we've done. When we first started, this was like 9 years ago. I first started buying. In I think the first one I bought was actually in Kansas City. It was like an auction deal. Held that for a couple of years. Sold that for, I want to say, 5 times what I paid for it. And then I started investing in South Carolina. Randomly had a high school connection that was had moved out there. A realtor now, investor, knew the area. So I connected with her and started partnering with her on some deals outside the 401k, as well as she was doing these 401k deals for me. And I was buying properties for like 25 grand back then, which is pretty inexpensive. You don't see that anymore, but I'd buy it for 25 grand. I'd put, maybe 10, 15,000 into it for a rehab, rented it for 5-6 years. And I just did a dispo cycle where we sold off most of those, but I sold them all for like 100, 125. So, the return on those properties were 4 or 5 times what I paid for them. Plus I was getting really good cash flow for that 6-7 years that I was holding those.
Now, in doing that, what if someone was interested in starting that, what do they need to pay attention to up front in the setup phase? And what are some areas they could get hung up?
Yeah. So you got to talk to somebody, make sure you can even do a solo 401k, because you have to have the right entity structure to be able to sponsor it, because you're sponsoring it like, if you're a W-2 employee, your corporation that you work for is sponsoring that plan. You still have to follow all the same IRS rules that any big corporation would on their 401k plan. So to be able to get a solo 401k set up, you got to have either an LLC or an S corp or some sort of corporation that's going to sponsor it to be compliant with the IRS. And there's companies that will set these up for you. It costs you probably a couple $1,000s to get the plan set up and be all compliant with the IRS. But that's pretty much it. Once you're set up, you're kind of on your own, and they'll do like a maintenance each year just to make sure all the forms are up to date. And sometimes they'll do a reinstatement every few years if there's laws and things that change. But it's pretty low maintenance and low cost once you have that set up, and it's really just you're managing it yourself.
And what do you think that biggest benefit's been for y'all from starting that?
So I originally started it for the main reason was to be able to put more money away. So I've got no employees in my company. I do have people helping, but they're not on payroll. So they're through temp agencies or independent contractors. So because I was the only employee, and I also put my wife on at one point too, so I could start putting in more money. But we're able, like, I think for this year, I want to say it's around 70,000 total between your employee contributions, which is like 22 now or something like that, and then up to 25% of your payroll that you pay yourself, which is another $50,000 that you can put in there. So you're able to put in $70,000, and that's tax. If you have it set up as a traditional 401k, you can do a Roth and a traditional, but if you have it set up as a traditional, that's $70,000 of write-off. And if you put your wife on it and your spouse, now you got $140,000 in deduction that you can take just from putting money into your retirement account. So it's a way to really supersize your 401k, maximize your deductions on the front end if that's what you're looking for.
And then use that 401k to buy real estate and keep going. That's what a
I
powerful
will
way.
say this though, because this is not a misconception, but a lot of people say, well, you can't depreciate it, which is absolutely true, because there's no inside the 401k. It works just like a retirement account. So everything is tax deferred until I pull money out in retirement. So there's no depreciation schedule. I'm not filing Schedule E's because there's no taxable income to even worry about, right? So because it's currently set up as a traditional, I would pay taxes when I pull it out, but you can also set these up as a Roth. You can also convert them at some point. So you've got some different flexibility there depending on what your financial situation is. But I will say, you do lose those write-offs on the front end because there's no taxable income.
Is there a trade-off that y'all found is worth it?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yeah, for me, I mean, we've turned $80,000 into $1 million, so I think that's worth it. And the way it's ballooning now, I mean, the track record if we continue what we've been doing for the last 9 years, we should hit 40 to 50 million in our retirement account at retirement age. So I think it's worth it.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely
You know,
worth it. Yeah.
and we started out by buying like small single family homes. We only had $80,000 to start with. So it was just buying, what we could pay cash for. You can leverage in these. There are lenders that will do loans. It's a non-recourse loan, so you cannot guarantee the loan. So your terms aren't as good. The LTV is like 50, 60% if you're lucky. So you're not getting a great leverage on it, but you can leverage inside the 401k. So that is an option. But we were just paying cash for these properties at first, and just kind of most of what was cash. Now we've kind of sold all those off, and we've started putting money into bigger deals. So now we're going more multifamily. We just closed on year before last. We just closed on our first apartment building with the 401k. So there's a 14 unit apartment building. The 401k owns this apartment building. That one is leveraged. That one I was able to get good leverage on because I found a seller finance deal. So it was like I think it was like 12% down or something. And we were able to get into an apartment building and doing a bunch of rehab and just pushing up the value of that based on what we'll get at our exit.
Yeah, value add, man. Value add multifamily, one of the best ways to go. Y'all are doing the sole 401k, and then there's another part that you've been working on in the midterm rental. And in some information you sent me, you used a term I hadn't heard yet, but it's borrowed off the Burr idea. So dig into that a little bit for me.
Yeah, so we kind of got into midterm rentals out here in California. It's really hard to cash flow properties in California, especially where we're at. I mean, you're lucky to break even. Right now, you can't even break even on most properties with long-term rents. So what we started doing, and the way we acquire properties here, because it's very expensive. We're in Orange County, and it's the average in our city. I think the average home is like 1.6 million for just like a little 3 or 4 bedroom starter home, basically. So what we do is similar to the Burr method. We call this the all method. And what we'll do is we'll acquire property as a primary residence. So we're buying it as a primary. We're getting fixer uppers that we can still get financing on, but that haven't been touched since they were built in the 60s. So it's all original stuff. So we'll acquire this property, and then we will actually move into it. So we'll live into this property to satisfy the loan, because most loans, Fannie Mae, you have to do 1 year of residency to satisfy the loan. And then we will actually rehab it while we're there. So we'll lift the property value as much as we can while we're there, or before we move in. We'll usually do like a quick demo and kind of do like the kitchen, some of the main stuff. And then we'll just keep working on it as we're living there. And then we will leverage and get a HELOC or some sort of second or third position to unlock that equity, and then we'll just loop the process. So we'll take that money that we pulled out. That's going to be our down payment and our initial renovation budget on the next one. And we do the same thing. We buy our next primary residence. And then when we move out, because we're in California, we're doing midterm rentals. So instead of just barely breaking even on our carrying costs, we're doubling what we would as a long-term rent.
Now let's stick on that midterm rentals. Like, who is the tenant that you're looking for, and how is it able to double that return?
Yeah, so we didn't really know when we first got into this. We just thought, travel nurses. That's what you hear. Midterm rentals is for travel nurses, right? So we had this little ADU in the backyard, and we started with that. I think we've only had one travel nurse in the last 2.5 years that we've been doing this. Like, there are so many people looking for midterm rentals. We had no idea who the clientele was, but there is a huge need, especially for those smaller units. We have a house that's 3,300 square feet. It has this ADU in the back, but the main house, we actually use communication doors, like at a hotel, the two doors that have the deadbolts on each side. We put those and installed those, put soundproof insulation, and actually made additional units out of this house because it was so big. We were able to turn a master into a small little studio and put a little kitchenette in there and use that as a rental property or as a separate unit. So we've got 4 units on this property now, and we're getting like probably I would say a little more than double what the long-term rents would be, but we get everything. So displaced families is another big one from insurance claims. Somebody has a flood or fire, they got to go somewhere while their house is being redone. We get a lot of corporate placements, companies that are moving employees into the city. They just need a place to go with their family for until they kind of find what neighborhood they want to be in. These smaller units that we have, we get a lot of students doing internships. So we still get medical, but they're more clinical rotations. We do get the travel nurses, but we have found that these little units are booked out 6 months in advance, solid, like one run after another. And the travel nurses need more last minute. They don't get their contracts until like 3 weeks before they start.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
So typically we don't even have availability for those type of people, but there's just a lot of different people that have these needs for midterm rentals. And we've actually started doing it to where to expand our portfolio and our offerings, we have so many leads coming in, we don't have enough properties. So now we're co-hosting for other owners that have properties. And instead of doing like a rental arbitrage, you hear like people doing arbitrage, we just co-host. So we are co-hosting and running the property for them. They're getting paid and we're just getting a cut of that. So we're taking our network of leads that we built up, placing those in other people's properties, and we're getting paid on those.
Man, that's a smart way to keep making money out of those leads when you're out of your own properties. Now, how did you build that machine to get leads?
It was just kind of by accident, really. We had these really great listings, and we got a couple of them going. We started getting a lot of leads. There are a lot of, I call them placement providers. They're corporate, temporary housing providers that are kind of a go-between companies and insurance companies and the owner operators. And so insurance companies will contract with them to find housing for the families. And so they're kind of like a middleman broker, if you will. And so we've just built up a big network with these individual companies and, all get all the properties in their databases, and we've built relationships with them. So when they've got somebody that has a need, they call us, hey, you got anything in your city? We got, a family needs a 3-bedroom. What do you got?
Man, those are the best phone calls to get.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. And so what technically, for someone that doesn't know, what defines a midterm rental? What are the time ranges?
So midterm is basically what it sounds like midterm. You got long-term, which is usually 12 months or more. You got an STR, which is short-term rental when you think of 30 days or less. Midterm is going to be anything that's 30 days and over. And it's going to be a furnished rental, just like you would on an Airbnb furnished rental, like a short-term vacation rentals. You've got it furnished, all the utilities are included. We even do like shampoo and everything, all the towels, everything. When somebody comes, they just need their clothes and they can just move in. They got coffee, everything's just ready for them to go. With midterm though, we don't do you're not restocking it as with a short term. So they get all the initial starter supplies. And then, after that, they go buy their own toilet paper. They don't buy their own shampoo. They're kind of on their own because people will come for our average stay, I think is about 10 weeks. So people are there for 2 to 3 months on average. So it's a much longer stay. So you're not going to have as much turnover. And we have, when we're evaluating short-term versus midterm for our clients, a lot of people don't think about vacancy on a short term. They always I can get $500 a night doing a short-term rental or whatever it is. But they always have in their mind, $500 a night times 365, I could make a killing on this property. But you're never going to have 365 nights on a short-term rental. You'll have your weekends maybe and your holidays and things like that. Maybe in the summer you got higher vacancy rate or occupancy. But there's, that Tuesday through Thursday that you're hardly ever going to have booked, and the slow times of the season, especially if you're not here where we are, where it's not, it's not sunny all the time, you got rain, you may not have as many people traveling. So, a short-term rental, by the beach, a really good one's going to be booked 22 nights out of the month on average. That's a really, really high occupancy rate for a short-term rental. With midterm rental, you're booked for 2-3 months straight, and then you got a turnover, so you're going to have a gap between turnovers. But we've gotten so efficient at it, and so good at our calendar control on how we take our bookings. We just closed out 2025 with a 3-bedroom bath, between 8 different guests. So we turned this over for 8 different guests. We only had 10 days of vacancy through the entire year.
Holy
Like, I
cow.
mean, an anomaly. I don't know that we'll be able to repeat that. We're going to try to, obviously, but we've gotten it down kind of to a science to where we're able to just get these people in and out, and we've got so much demand. We're able to just keep that going. Yeah.
Right back in.
So
355
vacancy
nights
doesn't
out of
kill us where it does on a short term.
yeah, that's insane. 255 nights out of the 365. That's awesome. Congratulations,
You won't
man.
see any short term rental doing those kind of numbers in vacancy.
No,
Obviously, we're not getting
no,
as much
like you
per month per night, but like the vacancy will just kill a short term rental. That's why so many people are getting out of short term rentals. It's such a saturated market now and so competitive. They're just not they're not booking it enough. They're losing money on them.
they are, and you kind of have them in such the right spots. Like I'm based out of St. Augustine, Florida. There's a Airbnb mecca here, but there's always something to do here, and it's one of the places where you can do it. Like a lot that when that trend went through and so many people hopped in, it was interesting to watch because that was like you said, what you're not accounting for is the times where nobody's there. And when 22 nights out of 30 on average is only booked, man, that adds up quick throughout
Yeah.
the year.
Yep.
Now, do you think are you seeing a trend to this move towards more midterm rentals? Do you think this is going to keep picking up?
Yeah, there's a big shift going on right now. So out here in the West Coast, Jesse Vasquez, have you heard that name? So he's real kind of like one of the big names in midterm rentals. He's out of the Bay Area, and he does a summit in San Diego each year, and it's getting bigger and bigger every year. But it's definitely picking up a lot of steam. There's a lot of people getting into it because short term's not working out, so they're making the switch to midterm because there's demand there, and they're able to the numbers pencil out because you don't have that vacancy. In California, I don't know about where you're at, but in California, a lot of cities have shut down short-term rentals in the last year and a half or so. So there's very few cities that even allow short-term rentals at all. So because of that, you're seeing people like, what do we do with this property I bought with a 7% interest rate and can't cash flow as a long-term rental? So now they're moving in exploring the midterm rental. And I'll say that there's a lot more demand. The demand is increasing. It's a really fast growing industry right now because one, insurance companies are realizing, hey, we can put people in a midterm rental home, versus having to put them in a hotel, and it's way more cost effective for the insurance companies because if they're doing a full rebuild on a kitchen or something that's 2, 3, sometimes 6 months, with all the fires we had last year, we got people out of their homes for 1 to 2 years. So for them to put somebody in a hotel that's comparable to what they had is way more expensive than putting them into a midterm rental. And it's a lot more comfortable for the families being in an actual home instead of being in a hotel for a long extended period of time.
Eases that quote unquote displaced feeling. You get to go back to a little bit more normal, which is, and I could see that trend definitely growing because, like you were saying, long term rents are getting harder and harder to pencil everywhere. That's not a local problem for California. I'm hearing it all around every state, even over here in Florida, and we've got a pretty hot market most of the time. It goes through its things, but yeah, I was having a conversation the other day with someone talking about midterm rentals. So, what are y'all excited about this year? What has you pumped? What's the big opportunity?
Yeah, so I mean, the midterm rentals, we're really leaning into this and really kind of going all in on this. And to build our portfolio, we're doing again the all method that what I mentioned earlier, which is similar to the BRRRR, but with the all method, the difference is we are buying these homes as a primary, and that's how we're getting into them. We're getting ready to do another big project this year that we're real excited about. We're going to turn a 16 or it's a 1,300 square foot 4-bedroom, and if we get all the plans approved, we'll end up with about a 3,000 square foot property with 2 ADUs and like a granny flat. So it'll be 4 units that we'll be able to rent out, and we'll do the midterm model, and then we'll just again loop this. We'll pull out equity on that, and we'll go buy another one to move into, and just keep doing that. So for us, this all method that we're really leaning into, we're able to buy properties as a primary and push appreciation. So we're forcing appreciation to get into that equity. We've been doing this for the last 5 years. We started with 270,000 in equity in the first property. Between 3 properties, we now have 2.3 million in equity. So we're building equity really fast by doing this, and it's something we got to pay to live somewhere anyway, right? So we're using that as a lever to build our wealth really fast. So that's kind of what we've really been picking up on. And I'll say anybody that's interested in how we do this, we do have a free blueprint that we download that you guys can have access to, just seeing how we did this and what the game plan was to be able to access that. And a lot of people don't realize that you don't have to sell your home to buy the next one. Everyone sells their home, they take the down payment and roll it over there, and you'll see people put 30 or 40% down. I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, just tap into that equity, roll that over into another one. Now you've got a property that's got equity here. You move some of that equity. You're not losing it. You're just moving that equity to another property. Now you got two properties. So if there's another appreciation cycle where you get a bunch of appreciation, instead of getting it on one property, you're getting it on two properties. And you're leveraged. So you're just exponentially growing your equity and building your wealth that much faster.
And how y'all are doing it by taking a 1,300 square foot property and turning it into 4 units and then making those midterm rentals. That's wow, right? I'm almost speechless because you're thinking so far outside the box, and I absolutely love it. Now, if someone wanted to be able to reach out and connect with you and learn more about what's going on beyond that blueprint, we'll make sure that we have that link in the description. What's a great way to find you?
The best way to find us is on Instagram. We have a podcast. You can listen to our podcast. It's The Broke Millionaires. We're on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, pretty much anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And our Instagram, just hit us up in the DMs. It's The Broke Millionaires with an underscore. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me.
Man, that's great. I appreciate that. And again, we'll make sure that their information is in the description below the episode. Josh, I really appreciate your time, man. Your story and your perspective today. It's fascinating. I love getting to meet people and hear about how they're taking real estate and changing their lives and even other people's lives. The fact that you're able to help folks, particularly the story about the fires, man, that one hits hard. Folks that are going through a hard time, you're able to support them in a way that supports them, your family, grows the whole bucket for you. So thanks for sharing that. If you got value out of today's episode, please like the episode, subscribe to the podcast. We've got more operators coming up, just like Josh, who are out there making a difference in real estate, building real businesses and creating that generational wealth. So thanks for joining us today. We'll see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.